So today I wanted to talk about emotions. Um, for those of you who do not know, emotions basically are along like a spectrum. They range in higher frequencies to lower frequencies. Things like, happiness, joy, which is kind of the same but not really, inspiration, calmness, serenity, all of those kinds of things are like, really, really high. And then you have like the middle frequency, which is just like content and that kind of stuff. But it's self-explanatory. And then you have the lower frequency, which is like where basically all of the negative emotions live: jealousy, anger, bitterness, spite, blah 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 blah. You get the gist. But basically, they range in high to middle to low. Most people, without even really being aware of it, tend to kind of fester around in that lower frequency through no fault of their own. We're kind of just conditioned to do that. But the thing about that is that, human beings run on a frequency. Your brain runs on a frequency. The electrical signals in your brain, based off of the frequencies that are running, will make you act a certain way. They'll make you do certain things. They'll make you feel a certain way. So by staying in that lower frequency of emotions, you quite literally train your brain to be depressed. When you embrace those emotions for so long, when you stay in that frequency so long, your brain starts to memorize those patterns. It'll start activating the depressed, bitter, spiteful frequency more often in anticipation, because that's what you're always choosing. Your brain expects it. It's like, okay, here we go, we're getting ready to fire off the shit. Because your brain, it's a habitual programming device. That's what it does. It programs things for efficiency. If you're always choosing lower level emotions, eventually your brain will just get used to that. It won't even bother to try to activate anything for higher level emotions, because that's just never what you choose, so it doesn't even have to. But the point is, when you stay in those lower frequency emotions, you train yourself to be that way. But the good thing is that you can train yourself to not be that way. But most people aren't aware of that. The truth is, you can actually change your emotions, and you can change them for good. Now, obviously, this is not, some kind of magic wand where it's like, oh, my husband just got into a car accident, or like my child is sick in the hospital. You're going to feel those types of emotions. They're there for a reason. They're there to regulate. You have to have good with bad. But what I'm talking about is in the moment, those things that really aren't that deep, that we may take more deeply than we should. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you instantly get mad. Someone calls you a name, or maybe says something to you that you didn't like, and you instantly become sad. Those types of emotions, those types of come and go emotions, most people do find themselves choosing the lower emotions. But once again, I reiterate, it's not your fault. It's not any of our fault. We're programmed to do that. So the thing about changing your emotions is that it's like a muscle. It's something that is done over time. It is something that is worked upon. You don't just, immediately learn to change your emotions because you just want to. You have to practice that. Kind of like, when you go to school and you learn a subject and you practice it and you reiterate it over and over and over and over again, and now you're reciting these chemical equations like the back of your hand. Or like if you go to the gym and you lift weights again and 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 again, suddenly you have biceps. It's the same thing. It's just that this is a practice that no one really feels is necessary, or they just simply don't care about. But you can change your emotions, and this is for the people who would like to change their emotions. Because I'll just give a personal take. I found myself, I'm 28 now, for years unconsciously choosing these lower level emotions without realizing I had a choice. I realized I didn't have to always be sad. I just automatically chose that because I was in situations where I tended to be sad and stayed in it. So then when I got out of those situations, my brain was unaware of the fact that I was out of those situations, but it was still choosing those patterns. I had to be explained that those patterns no longer existed, but your brain doesn't know that. So you must consciously go inside and tell your brain, hey, that situation or scenario or environment no longer exists. We are now going to start doing different stuff. But like I mentioned earlier, your brain is a creature of habit. So your brain is going to just go and be like, okay, gung-ho, we're all on the same team. Your brain's like, no, I like it here. I've created these patterns. They're simple to execute. Why should we switch it up now? Do you know how much energy it's going to take? Do you know how much effort it's going to take to make new patterns? So you have to really get inside yourself and start making that change. And, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It won't take a couple of weeks. It probably won't even take a couple of months. We're talking, at least a solid couple, well, maybe not couple, but you would have to consistently do this. Maybe not every day, but like 3 or 4 times out of the week for at least a year to even really start seeing the results. This isn't like a quick fix. Kind of like, when people try to lose weight, their diet and everything. People do these quick diets because they want to lose weight fast. But when you do it like that, it's just bound to come back. But when you change your health, your lifestyle, your diet in general to replace with healthier options and do this and do that, you start to get better results in the long run. And that's what I'm talking about here. We're talking about long-term implications. We're not talking about something where, okay, I'm going to do this temporarily, to feel better in the moment. No, we're talking about how are we going to feel better overall in the long run forever. And that's what we're doing here. We're discussing a practice you begin to implement into your daily life so that you can reap the benefits 20 years from now, 30 years from now by, doing this practice. But basically, you have to be along for the ride. You can't just do it half-assed and then just kind of be like, oh, okay, well, I've done it a little bit. I'm not really seeing any results. Because you're not going to immediately see results, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not going to understand that you've changed until you get put into a scenario where you normally would have acted option A, but then you realize your practices have kicked in and then you choose option B instead. And that's what happened to me. But I'll also tell you, I stopped doing that practice for a very long time, and I can tell the difference. When I was consciously making sure that my brain was aware of the situations I was currently in and, going inside through, whatever means you want, either through reading or through meditation or whatever, gets your brain to stick with that message. When you're doing those practices regularly, you reap those results regularly. But when you stop, your brain starts to fall back in those old patterns. If you stop going to the gym, you're going to lose your muscles. If you stop practicing your schoolwork, you're going to start forgetting stuff. If you stop making healthy food choices, you're going to get fat. It's the same thing. It's a practice that needs to be upkept. So it's not something that's going to be temporary. You have to keep at it for the rest of your life. But I'll tell you why it's worth it, because no one else is going to be doing this. How many people have you met that have just been stuck in a sad situation or a depressed situation or a hateful situation, and they really don't have any control? What I'm discussing here is true mastery of the self, something that a lot of people don't have. We're creatures of instinct. We're animals at the end of the day. We follow our instincts. We just kind of let our emotions run us. But I think this is the next step for anyone who wants to take that leap into truly being a human being. Right now, I like to call us human creatures. We have all of this stuff, sure. We've made a lot of advancements, but we still have a lot of evolving to do. And I truly believe that emotions are one of those things. And I think that being able to choose your emotions, how, when you want to feel sad or don't feel sad or not allowing them to run you, is the mark of an evolved being. And I think that a lot more people should be doing this, just because I think it'll help everyone in the long run. But yeah. So another example, when you choose these negative emotions for so long, I like to think of it as like being dirty. It's like your brain can only handle so many negative emotions without, diverting that brain power to those emotions. So let's say if you are using so much brain power on holding on to these negative emotions or allowing them to run you, that is essentially diverting power from other things. It's diverting power from motivation. It's diverting power from creativity, because you're so stuck in that negativity, your brain can't really do anything else. You certainly can't get out of it, and you certainly can't enjoy yourself while your brain is just littered in this pile of trash that is negative emotions. By choosing your emotions, by choosing the higher frequency emotions, you are essentially washing your brain clean. Think of it like this. Your brain has been dirty and in the muck for so long, you don't even know that you're dirty. It's kind of like when your house stinks and you just become nose blind to it. But then, like, if you leave for a little while or someone else comes over, they're like, it stinks in here. And you're like, I had no idea because I've been in it so long. It's exactly like that. Your brain has gotten used to the nose stink of resting in these negative emotions. So when you start to clear it off, you'll realize slowly but surely just how dirty it was in the negative emotions, and you'll just want to stay clean forever, you know. But that takes time, which leads me to my next point. If you had a choice between being dirty and being clean, which one would you choose? I feel like any regular human being would choose to be clean. Think of the higher frequency emotions as brain health and brain cleanliness, and think of the lower frequency emotions, while necessary, they are still essentially being dirty and being unclean and being diseased. If you are having emotions that are stuck, then you're diseased. It's natural to feel fear. It's natural to feel hatred. It's natural to feel hatred. It's natural to feel jealousy. It's natural to feel bitterness. It's natural to feel all of these things. They come and they go. The problem is when they don't go. And you see what I mean? When they start to stick, when they start to be latched onto you, that's where the problems start. And there's so many people I've met, and I've also personally experienced, where those emotions start to stick on you and they start to become you, and that's when you become brain dirty, as I like to call it. And a lot of people are unaware that they're brain dirty because they've been so dirty so long that they just don't know that they are. So by doing this process, by committing to brain health, brain cleanliness, by choosing the higher frequency emotions, either through just repetition of positive self-talk, or through meditation, or through reading, or through just performing different actions to let your brain know you're in a different environment, you start to get the ball rolling. Slowly but surely, you start to clean yourself, and then you can't ever imagine really being dirty, you know. But that's pretty much all I had. I didn't want to make this a super long video. I know before my videos have been like 20 minutes long or something like that. I know people don't want to sit here and watch me yap for like ever. And I actually had a little script this time, so I didn't go super off topic. But you know, I've made a video in a long time, so I really want to be more consistent. I know I said that before, but I have a lot of ideas that I've had in the past, like these past couple of months, that have just gone away because I didn't act on them. I didn't make a video when I needed to. So I want to be a lot better than that. And I also don't want to yap forever. I want to start trimming them down and making them shorter, digestible content. We live in the era of TikTok. I know no one wants to sit here and watch a 20, 30-minute video. I will try to make them shorter in the long run, but I just want to get that out there. If anyone, you know, resonates with the idea, cool, we can chat about it in the comments. If you're like, you're a crackpot, cool. I'd also still like to chat to you so I can hear your exact thoughts on why I'm a crackpot, but you know, have a little discussion. Have you been in a negative emotion for so long and you just didn't realize that you could choose a positive emotion? Do you choose positive emotions and you've reaped the benefits? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye.